Hey everybody, welcome to another science experiment video. So today I'm actually going to show you two science experiments, both having to do with penguins. So the first one we're going to do is about a penguin's natural raincoat. So for this you're going to need a piece of paper, some crayons, you're going to need a baking sheet, a little squirt bottle with some water in it, and some blue food coloring, if you have it. If you don't, you can still do the experiment without it. So what you're going to do is draw a penguin using your crayons on the sheet of paper. You can draw whatever kind of penguin you like. I did the emperor penguin chick, the baby. And you want to make sure that every part of your penguin is colored in with crayon. So even if it's white, make sure you use the white crayon on there, but leave the rest of the paper, the background, blank from crayon. So once you've got your picture, like I have, then you'll take your squirt bottle and you can put a little bit of food coloring in it. This is just kind of, I'm always very messy with food coloring. Just to make it look a little bit more like rain. So we got some nice blue water there. And then you want to put your drawing on the baking sheet. All right, that's just so we can kind of contain our rain here. And then you're going to squirt it. If I can figure out how to use it. There we go. So you're just gonna squirt the whole picture. This is a pretty fine mist, so hopefully we'll be able to see the results a little bit. If you get in real close to the picture, there we go. As you can see, the paper part where I did not color, right, is getting wet and soaked through. But on the penguin itself, where we have all the crayon, the water's kind of beading up like that. And it's not really going through the paper. The crayon is kind of repelling it, making it just bead up like it would on our raincoat. So this is a very quick and easy experiment, and just wanted to show you the idea behind this is that penguins kind of have a natural raincoat. So they have special glands that make an oil, and they make sure to coat all their feathers in this oil. And the oil has a particular property. It's a non-polar molecule. So that means that it doesn't want to get anywhere near polar molecules. And water happens to be made up of polar molecules. So this oil that is on their feathers is going to naturally repel the water. And so we have replicated that by using the wax from the crayons. Wax is also a non-polar molecule system. So something that you could do to try different things with this particular experiment is you could try markers and see if you think that would work. You could try melting some crayons and maybe using paint brushes in the wax to do a wax drawing, and then squirt water on it and see how that works. So that is our penguin's natural raincoat experiment. And the next one I'm gonna tell you guys about is that penguins are what is called neutrally buoyant. So we know that penguins can't fly, but they can swim really, really well. And penguins' bones are actually very dense, which is unlike other birds. So this density of their bones makes them almost neutrally buoyant, which means they don't really sink all the way to the bottom, and they don't really float either. They've got to be paddling when they're on the water. So the reason they are this way, though, is it allows them to very easily dive deep into the ocean to get their food, squid, crabs, fish. And the emperor penguin can dive as deep as 1,800 feet in the ocean. So that's pretty deep. So we're gonna try and turn a cup, something that would normally float, into something that is neutrally buoyant, so you can kind of see and understand how this works. So for this experiment, you're gonna need a cup or a container that's gonna float. So I'm using a little bottle here. You could use a plastic cup and decorate it to look like a penguin if you want. you're gonna need some wire, because that's gonna form the little handle for your container that you're gonna hook some things on. You might need tape if you need to tape the wire. For this one, we've just poked it through. And you're gonna need a container, and you wanna fill it with water to about 1 inch from the top. So this is the one I'm gonna use with this small container. If you were to use a bigger cup like this, you might want to use a taller container. So the bigger your cup is that you're gonna test with, the taller you need your container of water to be. So we're gonna use this smaller one. You're also gonna need just a few drops of dishwashing liquid soap to put in there. And you're gonna need some paper clips, which you will want to kind of unfold and turn into kind of an S shape. So the idea behind these paper clips is you're gonna eventually hook them on your container, and then you're gonna hook weights on them. That's why you need this one to be a little further apart. I probably should have done it the other way. Like that, and then you can hook weights on them. So, and you can experiment with different ways of making the paper clip. So again, we don't want it to hang down too far so it's hitting the bottom, so you may want to make your paper clips like this. And then you're going to need some things to act as weights. So you might want to use washers, or if you have nut bolts or anything that you can kind of stick on the end of the paper clip, even just more paper clips that you can hook on is fine. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is prepare your cup, which we've already done. So you're going to want to cut a piece of wire so that you can attach it to both sides, and so that you can make kind of a handle here. Now again, you don't want it to hang down too low, so when you first do it, you may need to manipulate it into kind of a U shape or an upside down U, like we've done here. So this is going to be your handle. And then you're going to get your paper clips ready, all right? And then we're going to put a few drops of the dishwashing liquid in there, and then you're just going to gently stir it with your finger. And the reason we do this is just to make it so that the cup will sink a little bit easier into the water. All right, so now we're going to experiment and see how much weight we need. And the idea is we want this cup container to be fully submerged in the water, but we don't want it to sink all the way to the bottom and be dragging along the bottom. So once it's in between those two stages of floating and all the way on the bottom, then it will be neutrally buoyant. So I'm just going to put 2 washers on first. We're going to see. Still kind of floating quite a bit, right? So let's get some more weight on there. I've got one prepped here with 3 more washers on it. Gonna hang that from there. All right, it's sunk down a little bit further. You can use a towel too if you want to kind of help as you're taking this in and out and get a little wet. So I got another one prepped with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more washers on it. Now that's pretty close to being submerged, right? And it hasn't sunk all the way to the bottom yet. So what happens if, I'm gonna try and lay this down for a sec here so I can get these washers on. I'm just gonna go ahead and put all my extra washers on and see what happens. Clunk. So that's too much weight. So because it went and just stayed at the bottom, right? Okay, so I'm gonna take that last one off, and I'm gonna try just a paper clip and see if a little bit of that weight, it's still kind of not fully submerged, so maybe we'll put 1 more washer on and see. There we go, it's almost practically submerged and it's still not totally touching the bottom. And this is why you need a fairly tall container, because you want it to be able to go completely under the water with the things hanging down from it and still not touching the bottom. And so that is neutrally buoyant. And that's why penguins can swim so well and so fast and dive so deep underwater. So hope you enjoyed our penguin experiments today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.